Let's talk about white privilege. It's a manufactured term in the same vein as the words like Islamophobia. It's been conjured up by the social justice warriors who desire to cause division and chaos and to distract from doing something constructive and real concerning other issues. So the reality is that all Australians, regardless of colour, race or creed, enjoy privilege. Whatever your social standing is in this country, every citizen is privileged compared to a great deal of the rest of the world. Does that mean we're perfect? No, of course not. Does it mean there's nothing we can improve on? No. But these words are divisive, they're inflammatory, they're language that will not help in this regard. Now, if the so-called justice warriors, social justice warriors, want to do something about privilege, why don't they go and visit Asia, the Middle East or Africa and get some first-hand experience? I visited refugee camps in Sulawesi, Indonesia. They were housing at that time about 10,000 people. The shelters there for the refugees that actually had any shelter were made of cardboard. The children were malnourished. There were open sewer trenches around the camp. Disease was rife, medical care was extremely limited, and there was no government assistance. Asylum seekers, on the other hand, coming to Australia, both legally and illegally, have access to medical care, food, education, sanitary conditions, and a plethora of taxpayer government-funded services. It's not perfect, but all of us are privileged, regardless of our skin colour. What about Africa? I spent a month in Mali in northwest Africa. A Malian woman associated with our group required surgery. At the hospital, we went and took supplies. There is no government facilities. The family had to pay for everything, and I mean everything. They had to pay for the doctor, the medical equipment, such as needles, sutures, anaesthetic, antibiotics, the bedding, you name it, everything up front. The family had to supply. It was dirty, unhygienic, terrible, stressful. In Australia, even the poorest have access to hospitals and government medical care that's government funded. Is it perfect? By no means. But every single one of us in this country is privileged. We don't have pandemic diseases like malaria and cholera. We are privileged, whites, blacks, and everyone in between. And what about the Middle East? I've been to Turkey and Israel, and both are relatively free and privileged countries in the Middle East. But even so, in certain areas of both of those countries, you cannot dress how you like or speak inappropriately according to religious police, or you can be punished or executed. In other parts of the Middle East, you can forget about talking about gay marriage, as you'd be executed for even being gay. Here in Australia, whatever your colour or creed, you can get away with almost anything. That is, of course, unless you're white, you're a Christian, elderly, a farmer, a veteran. Well, then you'll probably suffer even more. To the social justice warriors and the permanently offended ones, I say please, for the sake of us all, get over yourselves. Using divisive and inflammatory language does not further your cause. It severely hinders it. Get a grip, get real, wake up, open your eyes. Every person in Australia is privileged, both the residents and the visitors. We do enjoy freedom, democracy and equality like almost nowhere else on earth. Is it perfect? No. Can we do better? Yes. But your attitudes are not helping. Stop trying to remove or deconstruct the very privilege that you are abusing to make a noise. With privilege comes responsibility. It is time for everyone, whatever your political persuasion, to start acting responsibly. Can we improve healthcare, education, gender, racial equality? Of course. But let's start with acknowledging it is a privilege to live here. It is a privilege to have diggers who sacrifice so much to ensure that we all enjoy these privileges. Let's be grateful for freedom of speech and freedom of religion and stop trying to stifle debate and using lawfare and ridiculous constructs like 18C. The so-called progressives are dangerous and destructive, and they are causing division. Be thankful, acknowledge our privilege and use it to better outcomes. Stand up and defend our privilege. Be proud to be Australian, whatever colour you are, and work hard to ensure that all Australians, as well as those overseas, can benefit from the privilege that we have inherited and have worked very hard for. Stand up. Let's keep this privilege and use it for the common good.